So now let's talk about the introduction to the MTP-S coach supports, which I think is something that makes MTP especially unique and also especially effective. Unlike a lot of other professional development models or coaching models that I have myself experienced, this one has the added layer of making sure we are wrapping the coaches in support and development all year long. So let's take a look at what some of that support looks like. First is the foundation of everything we do is focused on children and students in classrooms. So we know that what we believe needs to be true for children should be modeled by their teachers, should be modeled by coaches for teachers, and should be modeled by specialists like me for coaches. Specialists, as you'll see in this graphic, are connected to Teachstone, but the coaches, the teachers, and the children are all in your districts. And we want to make sure that we are walking the talk, as we say, and modeling those effective interactions at every level. And this is what we call the parallel process, meaning that we want to make sure that what we're expecting, because it's effective or because it leads to effective student outcomes, is also what we're modeling because we know it leads to effective teacher and coach outcomes. So let's dig into some of those particulars of our parallel process and how we provide support. So we start with two face-to-face trainings where the coaches all get to come together from different districts, first for a class secondary observation training. So that class tool that we mentioned, this is where they come, they learn about that class observation tool, and they spend 2 days learning about how to define, identify, and sort effective classroom interactions. They actually get to practice coding classroom video. While coding and scoring isn't part of the coaching model, it's really important that coaches are calibrated on this framework so that we have a common language that we can rely on, and that we know that coaches are all using the same language with teachers both in the same district and across districts. So there's this 2-day training, and it's followed by an online certification test that coaches can do from back in their districts, in which they watch videos, sort interactions, and code those videos. And that certification test shows us that coaches are reliable on the class observation tool. Following that 2-day training, about a month to 6 weeks later, depending on particular schedules, coaches come back together, this time for an MTP coach training. So this is where they're actually digging really deep into that model that we just talked about, with the 5 steps, and they're getting to learn about the model, getting to learn about the origins and development of the model, getting to see examples of each step of the model in action, analyzing those examples, and then actually getting to practice them. By the end of that in-person coach training, which is 3 days, coaches will have completed a mock cycle with their specialist, someone who's in my role, support and guidance, including writing prompts, planning for conferences, role-playing a conference. They'll also have had the chance to start anticipating and thinking through some of those effective habits for coaches throughout the years, understanding how to prepare teachers to be effective with the technology that they're using, how to keep teachers engaged in the process, and how to provide general organization or how to be generally organized throughout the year in terms of working with both a specialist at Teachstone, working with their teachers, and any other district work that they have. Following that 3-day in-person coach training, the coach then goes back and completes another mock cycle independently. So there's always that in-person support followed by a follow-up activity and then feedback on that activity. So the coach will have a conversation with their specialist following their independent mock cycle completion, where they're getting really intensive feedback that's strengths-based, and support around how to then prepare to go and do this work with teachers. But the support continues beyond just the face-to-face training. So let's take a look at what some of that ongoing support looks like. The first is that the coach and their specialist will engage in monthly one-on-one calls. So again, the coach is somebody in your district who's doing this work. Specialist is myself or one of my colleagues who's also a coach specialist. They're connecting with that coach, doing monthly, hour-long one-on-one calls. These hour-long calls are time for individualized feedback and support on the coaching cycle. So the specialist is able to review the coaching work that that coach has been doing, provide feedback on their implementation of the model. They're also to work together to collaboratively develop that coach's competencies around coaching. Everything from how they ensure there's collaborative discussion to how they scaffold when teachers are struggling to understand something or brainstorm solutions on their own. So again, thinking about that parallel process, we apply those same effective interactions that we want to be true in classrooms with students to the engagement that the coaches have with their specialists. In addition to those monthly one-on-one calls, there are monthly group calls. These are also an hour long, and these are a chance for all of the coaches who met at that in-person training, which is often a really great opportunity for them to start cultivating their cohort culture, to come together on a call like this where everybody's faces pop up on the Zoom call, and they get to share how things are going. They get to build their coaching knowledge and skills together. The specialist plans specific content, everything from effective implementation of the model to just good coaching practices in general. But it's also a time for peer-to-peer support and problem solving, and also celebrating. Coaches get to share things that are going really well for them, and also challenges they're having, and other coaches get to provide that moral support and also strategic problem solving. In addition to these regularly scheduled calls, there's My Teachstone, which is our website. A part of our website has learning resources that we share with the coaches. Videos, articles, blog posts, there's even little mini courses, and all of these are to provide targeted support based on what those coaches need. So these are resources that are available to them as part of their one-on-one or group calls. They're also available for self-study if coaches are looking to kind of seek out their own development. They have full access to our My Teachstone learning resources to be able to pursue additional development. And then the last thing is just kind of ad hoc support that comes both in the form of their specialists being available outside of those one-on-one calls, but also our Teachstone customer support, which provides support on everything from the website to the iPods to teacher tech needs. And this is a really great way that we can make sure, again, that coaches are fully wrapped in support and have what they need to be successful and effective in their implementation of the MTP coaching model.